Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi, Jeff. Hello, Bob. Welcome. So excited to have our amazing partners on here. We are so excited to see a lot of you are already using that chat box, so keep it going. Hey, Dan and Bill and John and everyone else that's hopped into the chat box. Welcome. So excited to have you guys here. We're going to get started in just over 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Get those fingers moving. Chime in on the chat box. Let us know where you're coming in from today. We're so excited to have you on our broadcast. Hello again, everyone. Just a reminder, we're going to get started in just about 2.5 minutes. If you are on the live stream broadcast page, make sure you head on over to YouTube now. We definitely recommend YouTube. It's more interactive. It's definitely the better resolution. So head on over there now so you don't miss anything when we get started in just a couple of minutes. Well, officially, welcome everyone to our broadcast today. We are so excited to have you all on here with us. I see quite a few familiar names. I also see some newer ones that this might be your first partner broadcast. So a special welcome to each of you that might be on your first one with us. A couple of things about the broadcast today. There are 3 ways to watch. If you are watching on the webpage, the live stream page, make sure that you head on over right now so you don't miss anything to YouTube. It's certainly the most recommended viewing. It's got the highest resolution and the most ability to be interactive. Comment, participate in the Q&A, which we will have today. So head on over there now so you don't miss any of that. And there's another reason to be interactive during the calls, because we do kit giveaways. So one of the things on our broadcast is we like to see that you are in that comment box, participating, asking questions, giving feedback, that you have subscribed to our YouTube page, and that you've also liked and followed our Facebook page. So make sure you do all of those to be entered in that kit giveaway potential. Now, today's call is the sales script that no one talks about, and it's all about that one word that changes everything. So to give us that one word, I would like to hand things over to our incredible hosts today, Ryan and Kendra Maddock.
Do you hear that, Ryan? We're incredible.
We are.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. We know that there's a very specific, fancy, amazing solar eclipse happening today, so we thank you for making the time to be with us. Now, our topic for today, I want to touch on this, was so intriguing that many of you took time to kind of email in and ask us if we could give you some tidbits before the broadcast on, what this one word was. Like, can you guys clue me in on what's going on? And we didn't, to keep the suspense. We're going to give you those details today. And yes, indeed, there is one word.
Yes, we are. It's not clickbait. We're actually going to give you one word you can say in the meeting. It is going to turn, it's going to sit people up in their chairs. It's going to turn it from this casual meeting where people are talking to where they sit up and say, what? What's going on? So there is actually one word Do I get to share it now?
No.
Okay.
No, hold on.
Okay.
He always wants to dive ahead, everybody.
Yeah.
But yes, actually, Ryan is going to be able to actually share some of his secret tips with us in just a little while. But
And also, we're going to do some live role play. That was so popular last month in terms of what a meeting looks like, what to say in a meeting, and we're going to be doing that. But I do want you to understand, this is your meeting, okay? Now, you guys have been doing really good from an interactive perspective the last few months in terms of asking questions. But it's not just about questions. I want you to go so much further with that in terms of you weighing in. Like, for example, if I'm talking about here's a good way to get in front of people, if you've had a good way to get in front of people, I want you to say that in the comments. I want you to participate in where we can all talk about it, we can all see it, that sort of thing. To go even further, if I'm talking about, hey, here's what I say to a client to help them get signed. Listen, if you say something different to get them signed, say that. So the chat isn't just about questions. And by the way, depending on what platform you're on, if you're on YouTube right now, you can see everyone's YouTube comment, but you can't see all the web stream or all the Facebook ones. If you're on Facebook, you can see all the Facebook, you can't see you can only see the community you're in. So we do recommend you hop over to YouTube, as many of you have YouTube accounts, and if you want to watch over there. But my point is, I want you to get interactive on this. I want you to be sharing with each other, because Kendra, that's how we all learn. That's how we all grow. It's not just showing up for an hour to hear you and I talk about things.
Really takes it to the next level. And back to our main topic, Ryan, the one word that changes everything. Before we get to that end of our topic, we really need to understand and take a look at where we are in this moment of time and what kind of mindset that our clients are in this exact moment right now. In this
They're
picture,
stressed. I love it.
This conveys everything. This is our average client right now. They're stressed, they're concerned, they're frustrated, they're unsure of what they need to do next. They're dealing with rising costs over and over and over again. Childcare, food. They're talking about recession issues, minimum wage hikes, not even being able to afford interest rates. Just overall, the cost of everything increasing. And basically what it comes down to is we're all stuck in this moment of time where inflation has hit its all-time high in 40 years.
There's something that you hit right there. I want to steal and go back for just a second. So I love this right here because I think this frames it so well. You got to understand, the average business owner, he's at work, he's paying more for goods and services than he's ever had to. He's paying more for labor than he's ever had to. All he wants to do is escape. And what do we do when we get home to escape? Let's call it for what it is. We sit on the toilet. That's where a lot of people escape.
Scroll.
And you scroll. And so you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram and you're on YouTube. And this is exactly what it's like. These are all right from our feeds that we see all the time. And business owners are seeing this too. And what you're left with is you can't even, can I call it for what it is? You can't even use the bathroom without getting just completely bombarded with the fact that, and I'm going to say it for what it is. This guy, this business owner right here, here's what he's thinking right now. I'm screwed. My business is screwed. I don't know what I'm going to do. All I wanted to do was poop in peace. Can I say that? That's all I wanted.
It's true.
And instead, I'm left with this constant reminder that, you know, that things are just bad right now. And this is what I mean by, I love this right here. So Bill just piped in and said, commercial chapter 11s are up 43%. This is the kind of contribution I'm talking about, folks. Okay. You say, what does that have to do with cost segregation? We'll get there. Of course. Yeah. I don't want to jump ahead, but listen, if you have something to contribute, I want you part of the dialogue. So Bill, I appreciate that very much. Heather, I won't keep doing your job. I'll let you put them up. But, and Kendra, I didn't mean to stop your flow there, but.
Well, the whole point was kind of to nail that in. And I'm even going to go just a little bit deeper, and I'm going to talk about the increased costs that are on a personal level, because honestly, that's where it starts. It starts in people's homes. Yeah. And then it trickles up or down, whichever way you want to look at it, to all business owners. Everything as it increases exponentially. We're talking, you know, all the way from their gas bills, their childcare. I didn't put it on here, but literally the cost of coffee was like 50 some odd % has increased in the last couple of years. And these are just things that we utilize in our everyday life. We're not even thinking about it until you sit down and you look at it all together and you see how much costs have increased across the broad scale.
Well, and people may be thinking, what does that have to do with a business owner? A business owner are individuals as well. So this impacts them at work. It impacts them at home. But the other part is, Kendra, these people, they're working more than ever before, shoulder to shoulder with their employees. And so that burden becomes theirs. When one of their employees has increased childcare costs, which was one of the ones that has just skyrocketed, the problem as a business owner is that now all of a sudden I'm in this situation. I'm either going to lose this employee or I've got to increase their pay, but I can't afford to increase their pay.
So what do? It puts it in a position where homeowners, business owners are literally searching for solutions. They're searching for options on how to streamline, how to automate. And unfortunately, a lot of the time that rolls downhill and it becomes a staffing issue. And they're replacing staff with other automations and things like that, whatever it's in their ability to do. And one of these things, we've seen this, is the kiosk, right? We saw it pop up. It was around a little bit before COVID, but during COVID, we saw it pop up like all everywhere in all the fast food and stuff like that. But it's not just in fast food now. It is all over the place. I was in Toomey the other day, a luggage store, and they have a kiosk there that takes over like the salesperson's job. Literally, you can look up and tell it what you're looking for, and it'll make suggestions and things like that. So these are all over the place. This is just one example of the way automation has eliminated jobs, streamlined
And I hear people
things.
say, I can't believe this is employers being greedy. No, listen, employees put the businesses in these positions. Why? Well, with all the wage hikes, with all the labor cost increase, with the fact that people don't want to work, and so employers can't find jobs, they've been forced, number one, to have kiosk and be in it. And Kendra, the second thing that we're seeing a lot, and this leads into our next point, is that businesses have to work so much more in their business rather than on their business like they're used to.
Right. They're in the trenches, as you mentioned just a second ago. They're working side by side with their employees in those daily operations. I mean, they're back there cooking the food. They're delivering it. They're bringing it to your table. They're dropping off orders. They're building things. They are right there doing all of that. And how can you do that and focus on trying to make your business better? You can't.
Yeah. So they're left with this time. Their business isn't growing. They're not having time to focus on it. And honestly, what we're seeing over and over again, I know you're seeing this because I'm seeing it in the comments come up, is businesses, their debt is mounting. Okay. Their credit lines are shrinking. Their debt is mounting. And Kendra, they're running out of options.
Right.
And there's only so much leeway or so much leash that they can have before we're talking the doors closing here.
And there's another issue that I don't know how many of you are actually aware of that I think we need to tie in as well. And it's the fact that the boomer generation, they're getting ready to retire. And these are those people who are amazing at running small businesses. They thrived at it. And they created this kind of foundation of the national economy that ran off of small businesses. They just know how to do it. But you know what? It's time for them to retire. It's time for them to get out. They're done. They're ready for their golden years, but there's a problem. And that is the fact that there's nobody, like, who's going to take over, Ryan? Their mentality's changed, right? I mean, there's just nobody right now to take over. And they have to be able to retire. They need the sale money. So
yeah, I love this. Coach just said, I saw it pop up on the screen there, at a restaurant recently, the GM of 26 years had to take our order to serve us.
Yeah.
Spot on. We're seeing this everywhere where they do this. And the problem is, who's going to take over these businesses? So that GM or that owner of 26 years, and in either case, whichever it may have been, who's going to take over their business? Because normally it would be the next generation that steps in and says, I want a business that's well established so they could sell. But there's a few problems. One is, how are you going to sell when your business is worth so much less than it was 10 years ago? Because costs have skyrocketed. Profits are down. That's what drives the value of a business. But the other part that drives the value of a business, Kendra, is demand.
Right.
And here's the problem you're talking about. Listen, this next generation, and if you're on here, I don't mean to be the old guy saying this next generation, but this next generation, they haven't subscribed to the American dream. They've subscribed to the digital nomad dream. They have no interest in buying your restaurant from you and taking over and going through the grind, because their interest, and they got this from Pinterest and Instagram and everything else, they want to sit on a laptop in a hammock in Bali and subscribe to the digital nomad dream. They have no interest in cleaning out your grease fryer, in putting in that hard labor, in doing that. And so all of these businesses that are out there, Kendra, they are, again, completely screwed over, because even if you could boost profitability to sell, who would you sell to?
Exactly.
So they've got no exit.
I mean, and you combine all that together, Ryan, and it puts us in this place where Main Street USA, those businesses that we can all think about in our head, we can see them, it's basically dying. Somebody just mentioned in their area, all of the businesses are closing. So sad. And we've seen this over and over again across the country, right, Ryan? I mean, just everywhere. And so when we think about that, obviously there's got to be something. So the only thing that we can think of is they've got to become more profitable, right?
Yeah, as though that were, difficult enough, Kendra. They're up against this new thing. And many of you may be thinking, oh, tax season's over. No, the pressure of tax season begins in
right now.
About a week. Yeah, right now to
Right
a week from now.
It's not bad enough, all of that. And that tax burden is literally, I just imagine it, the analogy I think is it's like a rope hanging around their neck with a weight on it.
Yeah.
So all these other issues that we've talked about, and that's there as well. It's just pressure.
Yeah. Give it a little thumbs up in the chat if you love the IRS and you think they're really doing a good job earning their part. So I love seeing, as soon as we get to tax season, chat starts to blow up with IRS comments. But listen, this is a pressure. This is a noose around their neck that business owners, you got to understand, when the Capital One bill arrives, that's some pressure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people are, thinking, okay, I can do terms with that. Listen, the IRS, they're not Capital One. They're not going to give you a break. They're not going to, step in. And so now business owners, amongst everything else, Kendra, they got those bills starting to come to the house there.
Yes.
And, it's even more pressure that they're seeing.
Yeah. So on top of that news, I think some of you have probably seen this. I couldn't help but mention it. The IRS has set into play a plan to hire over 20,000 new employees this year to help, because apparently they're not getting the job done. So they need more people, 20,000 more people to help. I was shocked.
Yeah. This is the equivalent. The IRS has got Dog the Bounty Hunter coming out to, hunt down these businesses. And what's funny is they always want to paint this picture that it's these billionaires and their private planes and everything else. No, guys, listen, we are talking about mainstream America. We're talking about the restaurants in your area that are under attack. We're talking about the local shops. That's who's under attack. That's who's going to get hurt by this, Kendra. And again, 20,000 people, as if the IRS had nothing better to do than go after, hire 20,000 people to go out there and pound the pavement, pound the phones, harass these good working people, that are there. And so this is just, again, the added pressure. And you have to understand the dynamic that's going on with your clients in your town, your client base, the people that are right within your reach.
Yep. And your comments, everybody, this is great. This is exactly what we're wanting to hear. Everybody's piping in. Some of you guys are aware of it. The 90 billion, they actually got that cut, Wilson. And that's that article I was pointing at right there. So on top of this,
Heather, you can throw those right up on the screen too.
That'd be great.
These are great.
On top of all of this, there's something that you guys have to remember about tax debt. It doesn't go away. It stays with you until it's paid. Literally, even if you're like, this is too much, I need to close the business, I can't handle it, the debt is too much, it's just, I need to walk away.
You can't even close your business to escape this debt. That's insane to me.
So on top of all of that, let's kind of recap real quick. I think we're all sitting here shaking our head. Yes, I can see it in the comments. Everybody gets it, where we're coming from. We're understanding the mindset of our clients right now. They have increased costs across the board, whether they're a business owner or, all the way down to the employees. Owners have to figure out a way to eliminate those costs, streamline, and, just make more money somehow. Boomers trying to sell, trying to retire, trying to do it, but there's nobody there. That tax liability that's hanging over their head, and all of that pressure, we talk about all that. So we have to talk about a solution, right?
Yeah. And there is a solution. And that solution is really, it's cash flow, people. Okay, this is what your clients need. So excuse that, 7 or 10 minutes of the State of the Union, so to speak, or the State of Main Street, rather. Cash flow is the answer. Okay. It's the only thing, Kendra, that's going to solve the problem for these businesses. Okay. So people have to look and say, how are they going to increase cash flow? Because this is no easy task to do.
Well, initially when we were talking about this, you asked me that question. I said, I can think of 3 different ways. And that first way is like a business loan, standard old school business loan. But we talked about it or touched on it a few minutes ago. If you can afford the interest rate, and then if you can afford the interest rate, you're over leveraged. Most people are, to the point where they're just never, they're going to be upside down forever. And they just get sucked into this debt trap. And there's really no way out
For
them.
most businesses, this is not an option. This isn't something that they're going to be able to go out and do. So we got to look on to the next way.
And that would be to increase their sales. Like, right? That sounds so easy, right? Let's just increase our sales revenue. You guys, if that were possible, don't you think they would have already done it? Like if they're just sitting, they had some special little trick sitting back on the shelf, they would have pulled that trick out a long time ago and they would be making that money already.
No one's calling a meeting and saying, okay, listen, everybody. And I love this picture that you got here. No one's calling a meeting and saying, okay, step 1 on the agenda, we need to increase revenue. But even if they did, and I want you to understand what this would take in order to do this. Okay, so if a business, let's just say there's an intern in the back of the room and they say, let's do, I got this $1 million idea that's never been tried, never been done. And so we're going to do this. So they do $1 million. And so great. Average business has 18 to 22% in profitability. So now we're down to $200,000 in actual like revenue for the business owner. But Kendra, you just talked about our favorite 3-letter acronym here, the IRS.
Is it? I'm going to come over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to snatch my half of that.
They're
so I'm
gonna
going to
want
take
their half.
$100,000 from you.
So now we're down to $100,000 in cash flow. And I got to tell you, with the problems we're talking about right there, number one, $100,000 isn't going to solve it. But Kendra, number 2, back to your point, if they could do a new $1 million idea, you don't think they would have done it years ago? So business loan's not going to work. Increasing overall gross revenue is not going to work. Kendra, we're going to be a little self-serving here, but I think this is the one that could work for them.
Right. So tax credits, that was the third one that I brought up. Where do they come from? Congress through the IRS, right? So this gives the IRS, they're not such the devil everybody thinks they are, right? Where they're going to give out tax credits and incentives and they're going to make it so much easier for everybody.
I thought you were going to say Republicans when you long cut.
No.
Can we say that? So they come from Republicans. That's where they come from. They don't come from the IRS.
Let's move on. The
Okay.
IRS is the basis of money in this country. So they do this. They create these tax credits and incentives, but there's a problem with this too, is they don't make it easy to get.
No.
So they're out there and they're doing it, but they need you, right? So they need you because they're notoriously difficult to claim. They don't even tell businesses that they're out there. We have a system. We make it simple and easy for our clients. So that's where you come in, is to solve that problem for them.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody wants to add $200,000-$300,000 to their bottom line, and I've heard this before, Kendra, as someone says, well, would anyone really want to do a cost seg? I mean, they're a big hotel. It's only $250,000. Is that even worth their time? Well, as we just discussed, in a hotel, it might be even more. They've got to add $3.5 million in increased gross receipts for the business owner to walk away with $250,000. So let me help you out with that. Yes, absolutely. When you paint a picture for them that you're talking about a client walking away with net benefit in the $200,000-$400,000 range, Kendra, they would do anything for that.
Yeah, because that's how much hard work, that's how much work goes into it to make that. So where does that leave us? Like, what do we do? Where do we start? And you start simply with a conversation.
With the power word. No, you don't get to use the power word yet. I will teach you the power word, but you don't start the conversation with the power word.
But we are going to ask, what do you say and how are you going to say it, Ryan?
Yeah. So first I want you to understand what you do, what we do. And bottom line is we help businesses create cash flow. Okay. You've heard me give a pitch before that maybe sounds like this. We've developed software that helps look for hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. That's great. That is a definition of what we do. And more importantly, I guess that's how we do it. You want to talk about the bottom of what we do? It's really simple. We help businesses find cash flow. Okay. Next time your kid says, Dad, what is it that you do? You can say, we help businesses find cash flow. When I talk about our software and local and state federal tax incentives, 23 years, $37 billion, that's how we do it. Okay. And that's important as well. But at the core of it, I want you to understand we help businesses find cash flow. Get that down deep, because that is in essence, Kendra, what we do is we help find businesses cash flow.
Right. So I'm going to ask you, that makes sense to me, but what's the practicality of that, Ryan?
Yeah.
Like during a conversation, when you're actually sitting down with a client and there's a conversation flow back and forth, how does that work? Like, how do you get from point A to point B?
So let's go through those layers, and I'm going to teach you kind of my 3 parts to a conversation. If you ever kind of wanted to know, let me give you some quick history, just sidebar for a minute. So we've been doing this for 23 years. I've been doing this for 23 years. We've helped clients find $37 billion with 0 IRS disallowances. Okay. So bottom line, we've helped clients get a lot of money. We've done this through this script, this meeting format that I'm about to show you. So I wanted to give you some credibility there, but I also want to say, like I said at the beginning, listen, if you do it differently, I want you to pipe in the chat. Okay. I'm not saying this is the only way. I'm saying this is how I do it personally. But listen, I think, Kendra, that they have as much to learn from each other as they ever do from you and I. I'm not like, here's the pitch, say it exactly this way, and that's it. So let me teach you my layers of a conversation when I sit down and meet with someone, and there's really a few. The first one, of course, in any conversation, there's a bit of casual or small talk. And then there's a layer that I'll talk about in a moment. And Kendra, I think the mistake that a lot of people do is they jump from small talk to solution.
Yeah, it just really makes the conversation feel uncomfortable. It doesn't, there's no flow to it, and it's abrupt. It's like, wait, I don't even know what we're talking about. We were just talking about, my vacation or my uncle and my friends, and now you're talking about something business.
Yeah, now you're talking about car insurance.
Yeah, there's
or
no
something
connection
like that.
there, and it's uncomfortable. It doesn't work.
It is. It's awkward. And the other part that I want to say is, until you've gotten to this middle step, they didn't ask you for a solution.
Right.
And so now you're in this imposing state. And by the way, you can apply what I'm about to talk about in any of your business, in your consulting firm, in your financial practice, whatever the case is. But I think there's this important, and I kind of skipped ahead there, Kendra, I'm sorry. So, when we're looking at this, we got to talk about what our solution is.
Right. You have to be able to pull into the conversation naturally what the solution is. Like, what is our product?
Yeah. So in maybe your financial practice, it might be life insurance, or it might be car insurance, or it might be legal services, consulting service. For us, we just talked about it. Our product is cash flow. Okay. That's what we're selling. But I will say, you still, no matter how sexy of a product it is, you still can't jump from just small talk into, speaking of that,
you used to have an analogy about taking a girl to the prom or something like that.
Yeah.
You can ask her out on a date, but
yeah,
you're going to go straight for the win. And you can't. There has to be a connection. Otherwise, it doesn't feel right.
There does. And that connection that I want to talk to you about, I actually stole this from Josh, one of our advisors. Talk about learning from the community. I used to call it something else, but he called it pain. And I called it problem. That's what it was. But I liked pain so much better. So Josh, if you're on, I stole this from you last year. I loved the way you talked about identifying the pain points. And I just think it's so much more appropriate than problem, because for business owners, it really is pain that we're talking about. Okay. Now I want to say 2 things. One is keep weighing in, but the other is I kind of said, don't just ask questions, but also in just a couple minutes, Kendra and I are going to take questions. We want to highlight some of your approaches. So type all of that in the chat so that we've got some cue built up when we get to that
I'm
point.
going to share this too. I did it for just a second. Everybody's kind of sharing, Sandra, this is great. Is she said, we're going to make you more profitable or you don't pay. Interested?
I like that.
It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Like, that's her version of the cash flow intro. So, I mean, it was great. And I love the fact that everybody's kind of piping into, that's exactly the kind of feedback that we need to make this interactive.
Yeah. So when we start with kind of those casual conversations, these are kind of some of the cliche ones, what's new, how's it do it. But really, Kendra, what we're talking about in a minute, we're going to role play some of these. And I want to show how we work to this inner layer and how we arrive there. So, really, if I have an existing relationship, either personal or business with someone, I'm going to start out either by referencing something from that personal relationship or from the previous piece of business, something like, how's your vacation? How are things going? How's the new factory you guys open? How's the new Boeing contract working out? When's Billy go off to college? There's some form of casual dialogue. This is a social norm where we all do. If you're like me, you hate small talk and you despise this outer layer. But it's just kind of offensive to jump past.
It's a necessity to have this informal flow. I learned way back in school, we have a obligation in society to each other. And this is one of those obligations, to be able to casually talk, kind of break the ice, whatever you want to call it. But it does need to be casual and informal and comfortable.
Yeah. And so as you're going through that, the next part is you've got to identify what is the pain on this. Now, Kendra, we talked about the pain is lack of cash flow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that was my lead in, guys. And we need to be able to do that naturally. And you'll notice the tags that we used or the verbiage that we use, if you think about it, all of them kind of lead the conversation along a certain path. And that is the path is no matter how they answer back to you, you're going to follow them along that
our
path.
product is easy. Because to your point, Kendra, everything you say is going to lead to vacations cost money, new properties cost, everything costs money. So it's easy to do. If you're selling life insurance, this is a little more of a hop where you've got to, get to a pain point. How was your vacation? Oh, would you hate for your family to be, left in a family? I mean, it's tough. You can do it, but it's tough for us. Yeah. What we tend to find is that because the pain point that leads to our solution is lack of cash flow, everyone's having lack of cash flow and always will.
And even if they're not willing to say that, the conversation naturally flows around it. So you can bring it back around. You're leading them. Just remember, you're leading them through this conversation, and you just have to keep directing it back in the direction that you need it to go in.
Now, from there, you need a light bridge. I said light to the solution. You don't want to be too awkward. Now, again, because cash flow is so... lack of cash flow and cash flow are really connected. This isn't a difficult one, but Kendra, we do need a small bridge. I'm providing one, but by the way, I'd love to hear your bridge typed in the chat, but I'll tell you the ones that I use personally and that our call center always used and things like that.
So it's interesting, whether you love it, hate it, whether the client got PPP or ERC, you can see them, they popped up there. Those are Ryan's bridge. And I've seen it work time and time again. And it doesn't matter how the client feels about these two topics. If they hated it, you can bring it back around. If they loved PPP, it saved their business, great, you can bring it in. If ERC, they didn't qualify, you can still bring the conversation. They're just bridges. It really doesn't matter how they answer. It's a bridge to get you from point A to point B, to get you from casual through to the solution.
Now, if you haven't figured it out yet, the power word that gets people sitting up in their seat is cash flow. Okay. This is the thing that's going to do it. And I got to say, Kendra, that when people are going through, the reason that this takes this from how's your kids, how's things going, to what?
Yep.
What's going on? The reason it's a literal sit up in your seat is because when you're providing a solution to their problems, they get that, they recognize. And I'm going to teach you, Kendra and I are going to kind of role play how to make every conversation lead to cash flow. Because again, that's the moment, and you're going to see it in a moment. That's the moment where it goes from, so how's your vacation? How's it going? That kind of thing. And what you need to get them to is the, wait, what? What's going, hold on, wait. I kind of nodded off a little bit. Say that part again, okay? Because when you get a client to that point, now all of a sudden they're chasing you. Okay. And I know this is kind of sales 101, but I'm applying sales 101 to our product line. But this is where they really, sit up again. And Kendra, let's run through a couple of these So, and I want to show you, I'll just pick one of them here. So
We
okay.
haven't practiced.
Yeah.
So sometimes Ryan likes to throw really crazy stuff at me. So
Yeah. Hey, Kendra, how's it going?
it's going good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I saw on Facebook, you guys just got back from Hawaii. That looks
Yeah,
incredible.
it was a great vacation. We took the whole family. It was kind of intense, but
10 minutes later, if she's bored me with the details of her vacation.
That's great. When are you guys going back?
oh, it's going to be a little while. It was, like I said, it was a big vacation.
I heard Hawaii's kind of thinks a little bit more of itself than it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, it's pretty expensive out there, but it was great. Memories last forever.
Why not? Like, I mean, summer's right around the corner. Why don't you guys head back?
I got to save some money for the next trip. Like, it was a lot, but it was worth it. Like I said, I mean, we can afford it and everything, but it's going to take a little planning to do the next
You
one.
know, I noticed a lot of my clients took PPP or ERC. Did you guys still have a lot of that money left over?
No, I
what
remember
I
you
did
guys
there?
talking about it. We did, we got PPP. I don't think we did the other one. But I'm to be honest with you, I think it was gone in like a matter of 3 months during the bad couple of months. So
Now, what about, did you guys, and here's the bridge, if you don't see it coming, did you guys take advantage of all the other programs, though, that they made, it like the permanent ones?
what are you talking about?
Okay, we're there. Okay. Now, I know you're probably like, oh, she's being easy. No, this is how it goes. I've done this enough times. Listen, I've closed more deals via text message, SMS, or Facebook Messenger using this exact approach. Okay, here's what you do. Your business owner friend is, out on vacation, looks amazing. That's it. Okay, now park it. Okay, because you don't want to, and that kind of thing. They reply back, that kind of. Now, why don't I just comment publicly? Okay, I like to message because then I can be in private. So, looks amazing. Da da da. You ask them a few questions about Hawaii. You get in a dialogue. Looks. Oh yeah, we should catch coffee when you get back. You sit down, you let them talk about Hawaii for a little while. If you're like me, it'll be agonizing, but it'll be worth it, okay? Because that's what it takes to build relationships. So for all you people who love hearing about other people's stories, let me know in the comments how you deal with it, because it's just not my personality. And then you talk about it and you see how I led there. And, all of a sudden, I'm just at that pain point. Everybody likes to complain about the IRS, complain about their finances, those kind of things. And then again, it would be self-serving if you just, Hawaii, how's it going? Don't you wish you had more money? Well, speaking of more money, have I told? No. You ask them, well, don't you have a bunch of that PPP money left over? No, of course they don't. Nobody has PPP
There's got to
money
be
left
some
over.
connection. You can't just jump from one to the other. Otherwise, it feels awkward. It doesn't feel right.
Now, I have a fatal flaw that I made, okay? And that is that my iPad is way over here. Don't ever do that. Okay, see this right here? Don't take one of these on your appointments. You know why? Well, I can't close my lid because this is all my comments, but I do want to show you. So, Kendra, let's go through that same thing for a minute with my iPad. So, hey, Kendra, I'll pick a different one. What do you got up there? So, college. Let's go with college. Hey, when's
Do I look like I have a kid old enough to be in college?
No. So
there we go.
try to pretend. Hey, Kendra, when's Billy heading off to? I saw he got into, MSU. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yep, we got to start packing them up pretty soon. It's going to be a long couple of years.
That's crazy. Did they take the arm, the leg, or both?
Oh, geez. We've been planning for this for a long time, but it's going to cost a lot. He wants to end up going into veterinary school, so.
Oh, yeah. You got the long haul commitment there.
Yeah.
What, so, and again, same thing. We're bridging slowly, getting into paying that. But how's the business doing? You guys must be, things must be solid. Cash flow must be good.
Cash flow can always be better. We're doing okay. We've done better than most businesses since everything through the pandemic.
Did you guys take you guys probably got the PPP, the ERC?
Yeah, we did them both.
Okay.
Remember, at first we didn't know if we could do them both, that whole thing. But yeah, we did both of those. But that money is long gone, to be honest with you.
Well, you guys taking some of the other programs that are?
What other programs?
Well, let me stop and get into my laptop bag and get it out and switch the whole casual feel of this meeting. Okay, that's
Ryan's
the
so
area you don't want to
passive-aggressive,
make.
you guys.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I won't toss I'm going to get it off screen as much as I can. I still need it for comments. This is what you want. Okay, here's what I love about the iPad. Lives under my elbow. Okay, just right there. It's out of the way. Okay, you come in with an iPad like that. It's not intrusive. You're able to go through and, long before wearing a t-shirt to a meeting was in style, I was wearing, button-ups, no ties, that kind of stuff. You want to be casual. You want to walk in. unobtrusive as possible. Hey, Kendra, how's it going?
Good. How you been?
That kind of thing. Now this can just live over there. I want to show you. Let me pick one of your other ones just for fun. Let's go. Previous business relationship. Kendra, the new facility looks great. I'm Ryan, the realtor, by the way. New facility looks great. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Can't
you
wait to
guys-
get into the next one.
Not for a little while. We were just finishing up the renovations on this one. You guys really got us a good deal. I still appreciate that.
Yeah. So is this the kind of thing, this building, where the initial investment's going to pay off like right away? I mean, I know you guys just got the Boeing contract.
I mean,
You've
that's a
added
great question.
shifts.
I
And
I
you must
think
be rolling in it, right?
it'd be nice. I think it's going to be a couple years, but that's the plan. And that's what
Yeah.
we see on the, forecasting. So we're excited about it.
Yeah. Were you guys able to take PPP and some of the other stuff, though? You still have some of those funds left that you can.
No, we took
help offset?
PPP. We got a little bit of that other one, ERC, but it was nice to get money from the IRS, but that money's long gone. We spent
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, but what about all the programs since then? You guys are tapping into those, right?
I am not aware of anything. Like I haven't seen anything on the news or anything. What are you talking about?
So a lot of our clients are taking some of the other programs. In fact, there's $2.3 trillion available in other programs. Now, the good thing about these are actually permanent.
Really?
Yeah. Let me show you. And this is what I love about the iPad. It's casual. And if you saw last month's broadcast, we spent like the main section doing an iPad walkthrough. So it doesn't have to be an iPad. It could be an Android. I like Android tablets now. I used to hate on them, but they're actually pretty good now. So yeah, you can go through. If it's got cellular, that's what I love about it, is that you can just be in it right here on the calculator. If you want to see that, look at last month's broadcast, and that's going to get you, through this.
You know what I love, Ryan, about
Yeah.
the interaction? So I saw a couple of questions pop up and I was like, we're going to have to address those in a little while. But as partners, you guys are addressing them for us, which is great.
That's what I want.
I love it. That's exactly what we like to see, is like the answers coming from you all so that other partners understand, oh yeah, that's okay. That makes total sense. The answer. And I think it was John. Nope. I don't know your actual name because it's a business name. So SRH, thank you for jumping in and answering that question. That was great.
Yeah. So here's what I want to do. We're gonna dive into some questions, but before we do, Kendra, I want to get some people adding some things while we're taking the first few questions.
Yep. I just want to ask you guys this question that's on your screen right now. How are you
Type it in.
getting in front of clients? Whether you think it's the best way or you're still struggling with it, whatever, go ahead and type it into the chat box. We're going to start using this information for that peer-to-peer to try to kind of help each other glean off of. So
I'm gonna
go ahead and
expand
get
that even.
those.
What are you doing to get in front of clients? What types of clients are you finding, are easiest to get in front of? Do you have existing relationship, or are you out there cold? What are you saying in those first few minutes? What's your bridge you're doing to get into? Like, I want to hear from you, because what you just heard is what we've done here. It's what we've had back when we had a call center, what we had our call center do. So, I'll say we know a thing or two, but I'm not opposed to the idea that maybe the best thing that's going to work for you is actually out there in the community, nothing to do with anything that we're saying.
I want to share one that popped up. Jeff, this was actually in answer to a question that another partner had put in about working with someone that you have an existing relationship with. And this was Jeff giving his view, but answered our question before I even got there. So awesome, Jeff. He said, introduce yourself. Say I work with whatever.
Yeah.
Use one of your inserts. He's using a restaurant and he's referencing something like a marketing insert. And you're there to let them know what you do. Make it as brief as possible so as not to overload them. That's great. I've seen that work hundreds of times, especially if you have a relationship with them. And then Bob, I love you. You've been around forever. Marketing toolkit every day. And if you don't know what Bob's referring to, because I know we have a lot of new partners on the call, is your marketing toolbox is what you have access to in your portal.
In fact, I'm going to go over to verbal scripts and, on that same note, here's a lot of the tone of what we just said in terms of dialogue. And, this is a really good way to, to do that and to go in and talk to someone. So these are all conversation starters where you can explain, and that is in the marketing toolbox under verbal and SMS scripts. Mm-hmm. Now, Kendra, the great thing about this is their toolbox. It's not our toolbox. The links in here, the information.
What you're seeing on your screen is our test one, or the one that Ryan and I use, so our names are in there. But when you log in, and I'm looking up because I'm actually looking at the toolbox above. When you log in, it's your name, it's your email address, it's your links to your landing pages. Everything is yours. It's cut and paste. It's as simple as my team can possibly make it. And I do have a little gift for you guys. I didn't get it posted today, but probably by Wednesday, I have about 10 or 15 new socials that are going to be on
That's
and
social
available.
templates.
Social posts that you can, brand new ones. They've never been used before. Just kind of giving you guys some fresh content to be able to share out there. Those will go live on Wednesday. So you'll need to log in and take a look on Wednesday to get those new ones. But I mean, we
If
have
you've
enough
never
in
used
here.
these,
Yeah.
There's a ton in here.
There is enough social in here that you could be using a new one every third or fourth day and be able to make it through probably 2 or 3 months. But I like to give you guys fresh content. Everybody likes something a little different. So the team tries to make them look different. Some like bright colors, some like it to look simpler. All of these different options are
I
going
like
to be available to you.
Bridge. How do you feel about paying taxes?
Yeah.
I really like that. So good one there. So again, I want to hear from you.
Here's one.
Kendra, let's take some good questions. Go ahead.
I don't know what your first name is, last name Ruff. He says he just goes into people he knows, restaurant owners, developers, whatever, has a short, friendly chat, and then schedules a meeting from there. That can work too. Just remember, you don't actually have to if they have just a few minutes. You can literally take them right into your iPad. But if that works for you,
I love this approach, though.
that's great.
Mr. Ruff or Mrs. Ruff. I love this approach. I used to use this all the time with manufacturers, that I would stop by and I would say, "Hi, Kendra, how are you?" And I'd talk and say, "Hey, I don't want to tie up time right now, but I wanted to set up an appointment." And they say, "What is this for?" And then you say, "Well, I help manufacturers in Southeast Michigan find local, state, and federal tax incentives." And they say, "What kind of tax incentives?" "Well, do you want to book it?" And pretty soon I'm standing there, and this is again where I love the iPad, because with an iPad, you can sit down at a countertop. You don't even have to sit down, is what I meant to say. You can stand at a countertop. I have sold a cost seg at the counter of a gas station before. Okay.
This is not a lie.
This is a real thing in our town. I was at a gas station and started talking to and hey, I see you in here. What do you guys do? That kind of thing. And just literally ran out to the car, grabbed my iPad, came in, ran my app, ran my .me page, ran the calculator. Client signed right then. Okay.
I think Dr. Mark followed that to a T. He says he went into a VP multi-location auto repair shop to compliment them on the work that he had done. So he was a client of theirs. And then he talked to them about cash flow and got them scheduled. So, I mean, that's ideal. That's exactly.
Wait, that was crickets. I was going yeah, there we go.
There you go, Dr. Mark. Bob, he says that he just started an email campaign and walk-in. I mean, we're back to the point, guys, where we can walk into businesses again. Y'all did it for, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
We shut down only for a short period of time. We can go back out in person.
All right. So if you have questions that you feel are keeping you from getting out there and talking to people, ask. I'll answer them. The community will answer them. Those kind of things. So Jack, I love this. Chamber of Commerce mixers. Absolutely. Jack, you and everyone, you want to become the tax guy, the tax gal in your community. And this is a great way to do it, because you'll get passed around the ball like
You'll become the guy.
person with $2.3 trillion in their pocket. Some of you thought I was going to say something else, but you'll get passed around because everybody, I want to introduce you to. Once you help one or two people in that circle, they'll just bounce you around. You'll just be busy for, longer than you can. And you'll be like I am, where you had to hire a team to help handle all the leads that come in. Okay. That's how busy you'll be. Now for me, that was before we had the .me website where I had to handle each lead. Mm-hmm. So I had to hire people to handle all the leads, just because I went out there and got involved in the chamber, got involved in the local BNIs, things like that. So
this one, I know some of you have business names, so sorry I can't say your actual name. Creating strategic alliances with CPA firms, that has always worked well in our industry. Personal relationships, cold emails, starting relationships on LinkedIn. I mean, there's just so many options for you guys, and I'm glad to see so much feedback. This one's great. Let me just read. He So Don, he said he visited a manufacturing company, which is our highest qualifier. Everybody remember? They qualify for literally everything. During lunchtime, saw an employee, introduced himself, chatted him up, and he gave me all the info that he needed.
There you go.
It's just that it's casual. And one thing that I want to encourage you guys to do, because sometimes it can be difficult for the conversation to flow freely. And I get that, especially when you feel like maybe you're unsure of what to say next or what have you. I mean, set aside some time with somebody and do some practice sessions.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you're going to get comfortable with your flow and make it sound like you using your own voice. You can take, some of the information that we covered on last month's broadcast and what we're covering today, go in, look at the scripts, figure out which one feels most like you, and practice with somebody.
So, Kendra, I want to show everybody, maybe you're just getting started or you've been busy with the rest of your business or something like that. I'm going to go to the Toolbox homepage. And by the way, if you don't know where your Toolbox homepage is, log into the portal, click the big banner that says Toolbox, or Kendra emails you multiple times leading up to the broadcast. That has links to it.
And you'll get an email after the broadcast today that has links in it.
Yeah. So once you land on the Toolbox, you'll see there's an action plan there, 50 new clients in 50 days. So you can go here and, we keep this up to date throughout tax season. But really, if you're just getting started or you've been busy and you're saying, okay, what do I do? Really, what's my first step? Here's the thing. I'm going to walk you through this really quick. This is an action plan for you to go start making money right away. First thing you do is make a list. And in priority order, you want businesses that own commercial properties. Now, Kendra, why do we want commercial property owners amongst everything else?
Because our quickest service and the highest turnaround for you guys, quickest commission for you guys is cost segregation. And we can quickly get them that money in their pocket, like within days. It just kind of makes them loyal to you. They're ready to move on to the next thing. And it gets you money in your pocket right away.
Right away.
And that's amazing to us.
There's no quicker commission than cost seg. Your second priority are going to be manufacturers because they pay lifetime residual. And they also qualify for cost seg. And they qualify for ERC generally, and they're not the highest qualifier for ERC. But they do qualify, but they're really high qualify for WOTC. They're in the
even
top
property
4.
tax mitigation.
Beyond that, any employer. So Kendra, here's some ideas for you to make your list. And here's top qualifiers, great qualifiers, good qualifiers, really any employer. This is just meant, to really spark your imagination.
And if you guys have an existing relationship with some type of business and it's not on that list, do not skip over it because that existing relationship pushes them to the top of your list no matter what. So
next thing you're going to do is you're going to establish contact. Okay. How are you going to do that? Well, Kendra's written an email for you. It has your links in it. This is your page right here. It'll have your name, your phone number, your email address.
Literally all you have to do is copy and paste it, you guys.
Like that.
You can change it up. You don't have to utilize this verbiage. If you're not comfortable with it doesn't sound like you, change it. But literally, if you don't want to, it's as simple as copy, paste.
But let me read this to you real quick because I like it. And I think it's a good script for everybody. So, hey, Mike, hope everything's going well with you and the family, or hope everything's going good with the auto policy. Glad to hear you haven't died yet and haven't had to make use of the life insurance policy, whatever the case is. Reference something. Hey, with all the new tax credits that have been released for employers, our company's added a specialized tax division. This is how you explain why all of a sudden you're talking to them about taxes. The purpose of this division is to make sure that our clients are able to easily access the $2.3 trillion. It's been made available for small and mid-sized businesses. This program is going to be available to the entire Southeast Michigan area later this year. I've been authorized to pre-release it to some of our existing clients. Here's a link to your calculator. Kendra, this is your page. Mm-hmm. So there's an email to a close contact. Here's some beautiful HTML emails. If you're in our premium marketing program, you have access to all of our videos, our premium email templates, our explainer videos. Why is it part of premium marketing? Because all this stuff costs a lot of money to produce and a lot of money to host. So you're just sharing in that cost. But there's tons of emails in here, even if you're not. So here's a email that's basically kind of in a press release type format. I love this one. Here's some text messages. The point is, make your list and then go start talking to people. The third step, Kendra, you're the queen of follow-up. Talk about this, and specifically I'm going to highlight. Do you just,
Yeah, this, I'm just going to nail it. So I see a lot of newer partners. They'll get out there, they get really excited, and they send a whole bunch of emails once.
Yeah.
And then they sit back and they wait, and they wait, and they wait.
In
And I'm
other
going to
words,
tell you what,
I'm
nothing's
going to
going
make
to
a list of
happen.
100 people and send one email. Don't do that.
Don't do that. It's a waste of your time. You're just going to frustrate yourself.
Talk to 10 people 10 times rather than 100
Exactly.
people one
It
time.
takes 5 to 8 times of contacting someone in different formats, by the way, before you'll get a response. So if you're just sending one thing out and then you're sitting back and like fingers crossed, nothing's going to happen. You have to follow up. You have to follow up multiple times. And that's one of the reasons through your marketing toolbox that we give you so many different avenues to be following up.
Look at all these follow-up
And if somebody
emails.
is on your social network and you're also doing this, they're also going to see your ads.
Oh, these are beautiful.
So
I like these. These are like hiding at the bottom. They're bonus. I like this one right here. Unleash the power of cost segment with $1. I like that.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So, you go here. Now to use these, you just save the image while the instructions are right here. I'm not going to bore everybody
It's
with
save, copy, and paste. Save, copy, and paste. If you don't know how, all you have to do is Google it, and we give you the instructions right there.
That's your link right there. Okay. It's not a corporate link. It's not anything. Those are going to lead. So if you're looking to get started, that's a really good place. That's right on the homepage. So, kind of go to that. Kendra got a few more minutes for questions and things like that. So I want to take some time there.
I'm just reading. These are great. Maybe I'm not sure I understand this question, but you might understand what Gabe is trying to ask that one.
Yeah, I'll take this one while you find the next one. So Gabe wants to know, does the tax credit from cost segregation compensate the WOTC, ERC, and R&D income tax or other tax liabilities or vice versa? I think maybe what you want to know is, can you, and Gabe, you could ask a follow-up question if not. I think you want to know, can you do all of them? So it depends how much taxable liability they've had in the last 3 to 5 years, depending on what program they're doing. So it depends how much they have, but also the credits can be carried forward. So, even if they didn't use all of it this year, they might get, not have, how'd you like to not pay taxes the next 3 years, because you've carried forward some credit. So Gabe, I think that's what you're asking. If not, do me a favor and post a follow-up question. But in most cases, people can take all of the credits, not just one of them.
Bud has a good question about cost seg on feasibility report. How far back can we go to get them the check? I think with cost seg, we're talking about like how old can the building be?
Yeah.
And then how come the fee doesn't always equal 10%?
Okay, good question. So take those in two parts. How far back can we go? We can go back about 20 years before there maybe is an ROI for the client. What I mean by that is, if they've had commercial cost in the last 20 years, then that's where it might be worthwhile to do that. So now, Bud, the other side of the question, why isn't it always equal 10%? So with that, Circular 230, we can't just charge a percentage for cost seg. That's factor number one. The other thing is, cost seg has a fair market value of what it's worth to charge someone for cost seg, or what it's worth for them to pay. And so, we've done, literally billions of dollars in studies for clients. And so we know, because of that, exactly what a client in an area is going to be willing to pay. And so, back in 2017, what we did is we took 15 years worth of cost seg studies, and we took all the bids we had won, what the benefits were, where they were at, and, what the benefit was, what we charged that client. We also took the ones we lost, and, we come up with an algorithm so that we know what a client is willing to pay and what a cost seg is worth. But the other part is that a cost seg is only worth so much. And so let me give a good example. I always tell people, you'd be much better off to go get a $1 or $2 or $3 million hotel than people that say, I want to go get, this, $200 million stadium. You understand that everyone's bidding for the $200 million stadium. They want the press, they want the deal that comes along, and they're also more familiar with cost seg. You go get a restaurant that's $1 million restaurant, or you get We just did a bunch of Culver's locations. We've done, large chains of Applebee's, things like that, where somebody has 20, 30 locations. They've never heard of cost seg before. They're not getting bid by a bunch of big four accounting firms. So, but I guess the short of it is our fee, the way we word it is, it's not to exceed 10%. But at the end of the day, we got to charge a fair fee for cost seg that the IRS would be comfortable with if they chose to step in and look at our fee structure. And also that would be competitive, because I guess the last component to that, you'd never want to go to a hotel and you're going to get the hotel, say $700,000 and you say $70,000 for this job. And then they do it because they don't know any better. And then they talk to their CPA and their CPA is like, I could have gotten that for $22,000 or something like that. Well, the problem is you'll never see another piece of business from that CPA, and we would trash our reputation in the process. So long answer there, bud. But basically the point is we use dynamic pricing based on time of year, whether or not we're in tax season, what area the companies are in. Obviously deals in New York and California certain areas can yield much higher fees. And so our algorithm takes all that into account, generates a fee in real time. So people say, how much do we charge for a cost seg? Go through the calculator, it's going to spit out a benefit and it's going to spit out a fee in real time for the client based on all those factors.
Kind of piggybacking on that, Stephen had a question, can a buyer do a cost seg when they purchase the property? That's when we actually recommend, it's one of the best times for them to do cost segregation. So that's why a lot of times commercial real estate agents will actually be partners, because then they can work with their clients and allow them to do cost segregation at that time as well.
There's one I spotted while you're looking up. It's from Frank while you're looking for the next one. What do we pull up to show them? Heather, you can add my screen back in. So, I'm on my toolbox right now and I can come over here under landing pages. And what I would say is you've got a bunch of landing pages, but if you're just getting started, I would just start with the general landing page. That's this one right here. I would have this bookmarked on your iPad. And, this is great because for our role plays, this is the one I chose to walk through with Kendra last time, because you can just kind of come here and it's real easy to use on your iPad.
I want to add to Basil, this answers your question as well. I'm going to kind of tag it on there. If somebody's interested, how do I get them to move ahead? What Ryan is showing you right now is where you want them to go. And this is how they get signed up as a client.
Yeah. And so you just come through, you walk them through here, and they fill out their information. And the great thing about this process is it's just going to keep them going and keep showing them more and more money, and then eventually they're going to sign up. Now if you want to see a detailed walkthrough of this, it's in our training. It's also in last month's broadcast, which you can see off of our YouTube channel. Heather, go ahead and pause my screen just for a second, and I want to pull that up. So youtube.com. Okay, you can pull my screen back up. And so if I come here to our YouTube channel, which you should be able to find all over the toolbox, and I go to live, you're going to see seal the deal. I can go here and let's see. Oh, right there. So Kendra and I did role play where we walk through, and I'm actually doing it on my iPad, and Heather's following along via screen, and you can see exactly how I close the deal, both cold, and then we did a warm one first, and then I did a cold approach where we walk through and show everybody that. So that starts about, I can tell you, last month's broadcast, about 36 minutes in. I do a live walkthrough, and like I said, Kendra and I do that. So if you want to see a detailed walkthrough of exactly what to say. Oh, that's kind of weird. It's you and I, and then it's you and I. I'm glad I wore a different shirt today. So
welcome to the Matrix.
Yeah, I wore navy last time, black today. So changed it up for you guys. So Heather, you can ditch that again. I'll head back over. So good questions there. But if you want to see that, go check that out. So.
Question from Loretta. I think she means once a person is signed up, do they get help with the tax management system? In fact, what happens once the client is signed up, they get an email, or actually through the sign up process, they're able to schedule their implementation call, which is where we have a specialist here on staff, and they walk them through setup and use of the entire tax management system. Everything they need. It's about a half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes long. They walk them through everything. If for some reason they miss that or they don't sign up and schedule it, they will reach out to them and try to get that done. If for some reason it doesn't get done, they'll actually send them a walkthrough of it. Like if they've attempted multiple times, they just can't get them on the phone, they'll send them a walkthrough of it.
All right, here's what I want to do. Heather, bring my screen back for just a second. So it's top of the hour. Kendra and I are going to hang out for about 15 more minutes, answer questions. But for those of you that have to go, give me 30 more seconds. Tax season, in many ways, is just starting right now. And Kendra, what I mean by that is that people are getting hit with those bills between now and a couple weeks from now.
Right.
And that's that tax cash flow crunch that we've been talking about. People need your help right now. You're not going to wait till next tax season to do that. So what I want everybody to do is on your page, on your toolbox page, I want you to come here and I want you to click on 50 new clients in 50 days. I want you to go through this process. Now, if you're like, I already did that, it looks a lot like the March blueprint. It is just like the March blueprint. So if you've already done that, then what I want you to do is I want you to go over to email templates and I want you to use the mess out of these. I want you to pick 10, 15, 20 contacts. And Kendra, like you said, I want you to email them 5 to 7 times.
Mm-hmm. You just create a schedule. And when we do the quick start, it actually teaches you how to do this, or the marketing training. You need to have a schedule, and don't just send one email. Write out which days you're going to do what and have that on your desk. When you get there in the morning, you send the next email. If you have a plan and you work the plan, then you'll see results from it.
Yeah. So go in there. If you're in premium, what I want you to do is I want you to be using your industry pages. So for example, you could come here under restaurants if you're in premium marketing. And what I want you doing is I want you to go talk to restaurants and I want you to drive traffic to your restaurant page. This is an advanced strategy. I don't want to lose everybody that's just getting started. But listen, if you're in premium and you know restaurants, then go get them to your restaurant page. It's got an explainer video on it. It's geared right to them. So you need to use those industries: restaurants, hotels, retail, manufacturers. These pages are great for that. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to get out there and I want you to be having conversations. Heather, you can ditch my screen. Be doing that all the time. If you've got to go, thank you for being on the call today. Thanks for spending an hour with us. We appreciate it. Our next one is May 6th or whatever that first Monday is. Mark your calendar for that. But don't let this time pass right now, because your people are hurting and they need your help. So if you have to go, feel free to take off. For everybody else, we're going to hang around for about 15 minutes. And Kendra, let's answer as many questions as we can during that time.
I'm going to touch on a couple of TMS questions. First one, are you notified when a client signs up? There's a couple of ways you'll know, and one is in your client portal. You'll see them move as a client. They'll fall into that red section. So once you see somebody in the red section, you know they're actually signed up for TMS and they're a client at that point. What does it cost for a client to enroll in tax management program? There's an algorithm and it's dependent on the size of their business, but most of them aren't more than $29. Most of them are like $19 or less. Some of them are only $5.99 or $4.99, something like that. So very, very low cost. Do clients need to buy TMS to buy the other services? TMS is what activates all the other services. And for some reason, and I'm going to be myself on this, I get a little frustrated when you guys get stuck on, why are we charging them every month for TMS? Because it costs a lot of money to run TMS, and it is a monthly service that they're paying for. They're paying for tax management system to evaluate on a constant basis whether or not they have any additional tax incentives or credits out there. In that process, we're identifying cost seg, WOTC, hiring incentives, R&D, property tax mitigation, everything. So yes, they do have to be in tax management to flow through the system.
The only service, I don't want to create confusion, CostSeg has a direct entry. We don't really advertise it, but a lot of clients sign up. And then, so what happens with CostSeg sometimes, because when we trigger a CostSeg, we send a feasibility report and they can buy CostSeg right from the feasibility report. So what happens with most of our services is they buy TMS and then they come in and they end up qualifying and paying for all the other services. Sometimes with cost seg, what they do is they get an email from us. We send them their feasibility report. They click and they activate cost seg. And then we say, oh, by the way, we found a bunch of other programs. They activate TMS. They still generally end up with both, but I just want to clarify that with cost seg, you will see a chunk of times where they activate the cost seg and
Before
then activate
tax
TMS.
management, yeah.
Whereas with the other services, it's usually TMS and then that. So it can happen, yes.
I think we just answered this question. Can you clarify what the client's TMS does for them? Honestly, it works two ways. The one way that it works is it is a employee tracking system for them. Everything from hiring to firing, all of that, it tracks all of that for them. And in the meantime, the information that they're inputting, we're able to constantly be looking for tax incentives and credits for them. It's the way that we're able to virtually see their company on an ongoing basis and be able to say, oh, wait, you added that employee. That employee qualifies for this, this, and this. You have a new location. That location qualifies you for this, this, and this. Oh. So that's how they can utilize it for an HRS system. Yeah. And then in the meantime, we're able to take a look at the information that they're inputting and be able to search and find.
I want to reference too, if you want to deep dive into TMS, you want to see behind the scenes exactly how it works, on our YouTube channel under live, you'll see Mastering Your Service Commission. It was part 1 because there's a part 1 and a part 2. So you can go in here and I'll tell you roughly, there it is. Mastering Your Service Portfolio TMS. Boy, that was lucky. It is at 13 minutes. So, boy, I had a good tan going on that day. So, 13, I got a good tan going on right now.
I was going to say.
So this breaks down TMS, how someone signs up. I mean, we literally walk through the inner workings of the system. So that's mastering your service and maximizing your commissions at about 13 minutes. And yeah, that would be a good way to do that.
Cheryl mentioned an alert would be great if they get clients. There is actually an email that goes out of the system too when you guys have certain clients sign up that say, you have a new client for such and such. I don't know if it goes out for everything, but
yeah, while you're looking for your next one, the Wealth King, I like that. Says subscriptions nowadays are standard. QuickBooks, Amazon, right. There's a trust factor that comes to the fact that we charge. Like bottom line, I'm going to call it. Listen, you think we're out there trying to if we got a bunch of, every business in America at $9, our system costs more than $9 to run. Right. I can tell you that. It's not about the $9. There's a trust factor that, comes along with that. So.
Question from Troy, and I rarely have to say no, but this answer is going to be a no. If a business wants to expand or renovate their commercial property, but don't have the cash flow, can they do the cost seg and include the renovation, or they have to wait until the renovation's done? The way cost segregation works is the renovation would have to be complete before they could do the cost segregation on it. But that's a great question.
Yeah. That's like, an IRS thing, not an us thing.
Yeah.
We're not just being mean.
I just went away, but there was one question about, is there any upfront cost for cost seg? And forgive me, but I get a little frustrated on this one.
There was another question that popped up.
Okay.
You had it on the screener. I don't want people to think we were ignoring because it was about compliance and documentation.
Oh, sorry. I didn't see that one.
But let's take Phil's question, then we'll go back. I just didn't want people to think, oh, look, they're ignoring a question. No.
Phil, cost segregation is an immediate benefit.
Yeah.
So the moment they decide to move forward with cost segregation, they do not have to pay in tax liability that they previously owed. So that is an immediate benefit. So they get an invoice, they pay half or the whole thing as soon as we do the feasibility. That feasibility,
but they've already received the benefit.
Right, they've received the benefit. And I know that's hard for some people to comprehend, but the moment they decide to move forward, that money is in their pocket.
Yeah.
And so if you have more questions about that, we have some solution articles that kind of go more in depth to it.
So Rick asked, what if the potential client is concerned about compliance and documentation? Rick, we don't see this a lot, but if they are, most clients they get their feasibility report, they click, they're kind of taken through a funnel process and they just purchase. But part of that funnel process gives them opportunities to book calls with experts, things like that. So there's plenty of, on-ramps that are available. If they choose, but most clients just don't. But there's a booking calendar. In fact, if a client already exists in a client card, there's a booking calendar in there, and you could click and book a call if a client wanted. just don't assume that everybody wants to do a call, because a lot of people don't. They just want to sign up. Good
Sorry,
question.
just kind of scrolling back because there's a lot. I think everybody understands now the one word
Yeah.
is cash flow.
Yep.
That's what it is. When you start talking about cash flow, they sit up and they start paying attention, because every single client, whether they want to admit it or not, whether they need it or just want it, cash flow is something that is going to pique their interest, is
Yeah.
going to make them stand up and start paying attention to you.
Sandra wants to know, if I want to give a presentation to a commercial real estate firm about the benefits of cost seg, are there PowerPoints or other materials, or should we create one? There are, actually. If you want to, Heather, share my screen again. So we used to have a lot of just PDFs and things like that. But what we've moved to is web-based. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under landing pages, i.e. landing pages are presentations. And I think it was Sandra. Sandra, I love that you asked this, because people just think of landing pages like somewhere to drive someone. But I like using them in person. And so let me come down here and so cost seg. So
As he's pulling it up, I'll kind of explain to you. The way a page is built out is to engage someone both visually and with words, because you never know what type of person is going to be going to that site. So you really need to capture interest no matter what, if they're right brainer or left brainer. And that's why Ryan's wanting to show you. I actually would go to one of the HTML emails, Ryan, because
that's a good one. So Kendra, I did just catch. So our links are going to, we have a newer cost seg page that we just rolled out that I like a little better. And so Kendra, on mine, will need to relink those a little bit. So you've got all these service-based pages. So, and what they do is they walk through what cost seg is, what the benefits are, who qualifies. So I would use this as part of your, it even has a case study. It's got a lot about cost segregation.
And honestly, your scripting for your presentation is right here.
Yeah.
So just go through and familiarize yourself with the scripting or the verbiage that's in the webpage, and that's what you can use to verbally walk them through as you're showing it to them.
So if I come here under emails, and you, Kendra, you said the HTML
I think the
email
HTML
templates.
emails are great because the visual, some of them have 1, 2, 3. Some of them explain what the tax management system is. I'm not sure. I think her exact question was for cost segregation, but
Yeah, this is good. You could cut and paste some of this as well. So for cost segregation, I can come here and I've got some great verbiage that's here. But personally, what I would use is I would go through and back to the landing pages. Let me go back to that. Sorry, I know I'm like power scrolling, but if you go to landing pages and you can see about halfway down, they're service related. And so this is where I really like the R&D page, the cost seg page. So let's take R&D, for example. If you were talking to someone, I love this page because you can get them here. There's a video. And Kendra and I will change the link on it. The cost seg one's just linking to our old cost seg page. But we actually have a newer cost seg page that has built-in
yeah, with video and everything. I'm not sure why it's not over there.
It's got, all the same information, but
It just looks a little nicer.
Yeah. It's got some updated stuff. So what I would do personally is I would use this. And if you want to pull that into a slide deck, or if you want to, you
could
just
literally
actually
walk through visually this way as well.
But if you're talking to them, and since you brought it up, I will show you one more that I like. Am I under landing pages?
The videos are great too to play like at the start of a presentation because it gives you like this credibility of having something professional done, like set up, and then that can intro or segue right into your conversation with them. So that's a good option as well.
Heather, will you private message Sandra the cost seg? There's a cost seg page. You'll know which one I'm talking about. We don't publicly advertise anymore. The PTC one that generates a feasibility in real time. It's a little more geared. The reason we don't publicly advertise
It's very
is
technical.
It's a little more technical, but I think it's great for CPAs, commercial realtors, and things like that. A lot of times if you're working directly with Clark Stover or with Jack, with clients, that's what we'll use. But we just don't advertise it publicly, because I think publicly the better one are these landing pages right here, because they have a video on them. They have other things. The other pages are meant to be accompanied by a sales script, I guess. Whereas these ones can stand on their own. So Heather, if you could private message her her link to the PTC website, that would be great.
I'm going to knock out a couple one-offs if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go for it.
Mr. Ruff, sorry, I still don't know your first name. It's just A. How do we get on the implementation call with our new clients? We actually don't. An implementation call is between our client and our production staff only. They go through some very proprietary
You don't wanna
business
be on it.
information. It's quite boring, and honestly, it would be inappropriate for you to be on
Yeah,
it.
your client doesn't. Let me think how to say this.
It'd be like having a third person on a date. It's just weird, and it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, your client may tell us stuff, or especially in the area of R&D, they're going to tell because there being an attorney present. I don't want to confuse the situation. The point is, they'll say stuff to us that they won't say in front of you. That's going to help us get them more credit.
Yeah, it's a production task. It stays
Yeah.
with the production department. There's no need, and it would be really odd and weird for you to be on that call. It would be inappropriate. So it's
If
it's
the client
confidential.
really wants you on, you'll be at their office.
Yeah, they
in
can
their room.
they can do it that way if that's.
But I
what
wouldn't
they
recommend
choose.
it
Yeah.
because as we dive in, if you're not there,
It's a better call. It's
is.
between the right individual and them. They ask the right questions, and we just need to leave it to the professional to do their part of that job.
Yeah.
All of us stay out of it. I don't
Yeah,
get on
'cause
those calls. Ryan doesn't
otherwise,
get on those
they
calls.
kind of will tend to like show off or with because they don't. If you're local in their community, like let's say you know them,
They're
they
not
don't.
going to answer the questions the way they should.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they may be hurting financially in ways they don't want to say.
We stay out of that. We let the implementation person handle it. Would a concrete contracting corporation be classified as a manufacturer? Not necessarily, but they would still qualify in certain ways for the R&D tax credit. So you can still qualify for R&D and not be classified as a manufacturing company. The R&D tax credit has evolved hugely from what it was originally. They could potentially still have that as a service.
Heather, you can bring my screen back for a moment. So I'm going to come back here for a moment and say on this question right here, Kendra said the minute they do a cost seg, do they get the money immediately? Does that mean our cost seg estimator is exact, or could they expand on that, please? So a couple of things. One is back under live, mastering your service portfolio part 2. R&D tax credit, and then cost seg starts right about, where is it? There we go. 35 minutes in. So on that, we're going to walk through exactly what cost seg is, when the feasibility gets delivered, how that feasibility is estimated, all those things. But I don't, Troy, just want to like tee off to a video, but that's like your 10, 12-minute answer is contained in this video. The short answer is our calculator is an estimate. It's not an exact. It's generally we believe in under promise, over deliver. And so it's generally on the low end. So Troy, I want you to imagine this. Heather, you can go ahead and ditch the screen. So let's say, Troy, that you come along and the calculator says, we're going to find you $200,000. They're going to tap into that $200,000 immediately. And then let's say we come back and in our final report, it's actually $215,000. Okay, but that's bonus. We don't charge them more because we found them more money, and that's kind of bonus that's in there. So to answer your question in short, Troy, is it's still an estimate, but it's a really good estimate because we've been doing this for 23 years. And we kind of know what we're doing in that. And we really factor under the under promise and over deliver aspect of things. And so that's how that works, Troy. I hope that answered your question. If not, you can post a follow up and I'd be glad to spend some time on it. So,
Kathy has a quick question. How does she get to her calculator, Ryan?
all right, I'll take my page back, Heather. On your marketing, there it is. On your marketing toolbox. If you don't know how to get there, get into your portal. If you don't know how to get there, reach out to support. Once you get there, really like anything is going to have your calculator. So I'll just go into verbal scripts for a second. And you can see like the very first script has a link there. That is your personal calculator. If you look under any of these scripts, you'll notice Kendra and the team have like a link there. That's your calculator. So literally like any link you see, what we do is we point these to the best page that we think would work the best. Your other way would be literally like email templates. And so if I go under the first email template, here's a bunch of hoo-ha, and then see this blue button here? That's your calculator page. So, and then of course you go under landing pages. So I'm just showing you all the different ways to get to your page. And the first one right here, your general landing page, that is your calculator. There's an updated image for it now, but that's the calculator. So good question, Kathy.
Another Kathy asked on CostSeg, what if their CPA did CostSeg for them and got everything that's being proposed on their software? Then that means they have an amazing CPA that's out of the norm, and there isn't really a lot that we can do for them for cost segregation. It doesn't mean that they don't qualify for other tax credits, because CPAs do not generally delve into that general field. But
so in the toolbox, I'm going to go under verbal scripts. I'm going to power scroll down to this section that says conversations. We already took ERC, what kinds of program my CPA said. My CPA handles those types. That's great. We actually work with CPAs. We tend to find that while CPAs may take a few of the credits, we look at, we actually look at hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. So we work with your CPA to help implement all of the tax credits. What we've done is create an easy calculator. It takes about 60 seconds. Okay. So if they say, in short, Kathy, if they say, well, I've already done cost seg. Oh, that's great to hear. I'm so glad you've done it. You've got a really good CPA. Now, we actually work with CPAs hand in hand, and we've created a quick calculator. It looks at hundreds of local, state, and federal tax incentives. Let's take a look. So just
it's a
congratulate
great segue
them
into being able to take a look at the rest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to assume Gary has a question that says, why do only a few counties in Texas populate on the manufacturing landing page? There's no spot on the manufacturing landing page that pulls in any counties. So
I think he might mean the calculator.
I think what you're talking about is in the calculator there where counties pull in, it's for disaster relief. And there's only specific counties that the federal government has marked as disaster relief. And if that's what you mean, it's because those are the only counties that have that disaster relief. It doesn't have anything to do with manufacturing. It has to do with disaster ERC. So
yeah. So as you're going through the calculator, there's a spot, and I'll just do that for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's say you hire 25 employees, or you have 100 employees, you hire 25 people a year. We got some payroll.
So if anybody wonders, when you do get to that part in the calculation, all of those counties that are listed, those are the list of the existing counties that have disaster ERC available to them. So, and honestly, the government's been really slow about
So
updating
it says,
it.
do you operate in any of these? And then I'm going to say, I
Pick
operate
Texas.
in Texas. And then it says, do you operate in any of these? And so the reason it only shows, because if I operate in Jefferson or something like that, then you see I got a bunch more money.
Yeah.
So that's why that's on there. So I imagine that's what you're talking about. Also, great hat. I really like the hat in the profile picture there. So
Coach has a good question. Coach, I want to know the answer to this too.
Coach, also great hat. Loving it.
This only goes through 2018 and 19. And he's asked, like, what about the wildfires and everything since? The federal government has not updated it yet. So,
Well, and here's why. In 2020, there was a national disaster,
Right.
COVID. And so what happened is in 17, 18, things like that, there was really just like, oh, this area was a disaster and that area was a disaster. You know, it's like Oprah, like you get some
a tax
disaster
credit.
money.
You get a tax credit.
And then in 2020, they were like, you guys all get tax credits. 2021, you guys all get tax credits. And then, I don't know if I can say this, creating some hate, but there hasn't been a Republican back in office since then.
honestly, that's. I mean, I didn't want to go there, but that's what it is. And
So what we'll historically see is we'll get a
see what
Republican in
happens this
office.
year.
And, you know, like Trump has already vowed to put back a bunch of those programs and things like that. So a lot of times that's what happens. So a Republican will get in and they'll like, Oh, you thought you were going to take tax credits away? Well, guess what? Retroactively, we're bringing them all back. And that's okay, because here's the cool part. Kendra, we've been collecting this data the whole time. We asked the question whether there's a program or not.
Right.
So,
if they do open up the other counties, we know where our clients are located,
based on
and we
zip.
can do a quick research in our database.
We know all their locations. So if they have 10 locations, we know where they're all at. By the way, that's why we charge $9 a month.
There's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, you guys.
Yeah. So when they come out with that state credit or the local credit, county credit, whatever.
Quick question from Ladell. He says, manufacturers German-owned, has locations in U.S. Are they eligible? The question to ask yourself to know if they're eligible, do they pay U.S. taxes?
Yeah. It all depends how they're structured. Chances are they have some U.S. entities that handle their EINs and things like that. But let me say right off the bat, Kendra, unless I'm no matter what, they're going to qualify for WOTC because they're paying payroll taxes here. So they're paying some form of taxes. Do they qualify for everything? Don't know until we deep dive. But chances are they qualify for at least WOTC, if not a few of the programs.
A lot of the questions are kind of repeats, and I think we've pretty much handled most of them. I don't know if maybe your question didn't get answered. You want to throw it back at the bottom? We'll try to grab that, but we are coming up on a half hour after. We don't want to keep you guys too long.
Sandra, let me say to you, great job on this one. This is exactly what I want to see. You are the type of person that 10 years from now, you'll still be here. You'll be doing a bunch of deals every quarter because you've landed in a couple of long-term streamed clients that just do deals over and over again. And I love it when I see things like this. So I wanted to, special shout out there. Sandra, if you need anything, I want to teach you 2 names right now. No particular order with what I'm about to say, but one of them is Jack. I can't ever pronounce Jack's last name, so it's just Jack.
Oh, shit. I don't even
Yeah.
know.
Hi,
That sounded like I said.
Jack's been here so long.
Her name is
She's Jackie O.
something.
Okay.
And so we just call her Jackie O. Because
She's just Jackie O. Okay. So Jack is a great contact for you, and she will get you literally anything you need. I didn't say anything you want, but she'll get you anything you need to close this deal. The other one's Clark Stover. Clark is our, resident cost seg expert. He's been here for more years than I can count. He's handled more cost segs than I can count. You don't need him to close a deal, but if you do need him for a portion of it for technical, we are there for you. And that goes for any of you. If you got a car dealership network, a hotel network, a network of commercial realtors, I'm just going to be honest, you're my favorite. Okay. You're who I'm talking to because I'm out there teaching everybody else. Go get clients one at a time, because that's what most people can do. But Sandra, for people like you that are going out there to a network of people, this is going to feed you for the next decade. So congratulations on that. For everybody else, if you're like, I don't have that contact, go work the plan. Okay. That's what the plan is for. It's for you to make a list of people, get them to your page, and get them going. So Coach says Jacqueline is great. Yep. Jackie O. So reach out to her. Thanks, Sandra. And I better see you on the commission report with that deal. So thanks, everybody. Have a great time, and we will see you in a little less than a month.
Thank you for spending the eclipse with us.
Thanks, everybody.